Alrighty, so yes. Alright, so yeah, episode 31. Yeah, the episode 31 of the Shadow Call podcast, continuing with Starrcade month, but of course, not just myself, Scott and Walt. James, We Are Pro Wrestling is back for a second straight week, which is remarkable.
Ooh, yeah. What's up, Beep?
This is what we call a streak.
Okay.
I heard myself. I don't ever like hearing my own voice a lot.
Well, I saw that Arthur Jones said he couldn't hear
it. I realized I forgot to unmute the speakers and mic, but luckily I caught that early, so...
Yes.
Otherwise, oh my lord, it would have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, real quick, before we get started with everything, a couple of quick announcements about the show going forward.
We're done. Been fun, guys. Get out of here.
This is the end. Good night, everyone.
Anyways, so starting tonight, we did start a new segment 2 weeks ago, the Push Job Endeavor. Scott did, at least. And now, starting this week, we're going to introduce another thing. Typically, whenever we do the end of these pay-per-view reviews, we like to do what we each thought was the best and worst match of the show. Well, from now on, we're going to be talking also about the sleeper match, the hidden gem underrated match of the show. So you have 3 match choices, of course, for best match, worst match, and the sleeper match. So you guys can fill in the comments, in the chat, or whatnot, whether on YouTube or Twitch, your opinions when we get towards the end of the episode. But, second announcement, only Scott and I know about this, because we talked about it last night. Walt and James, first time you guys will hear it. But I would like to introduce the newest member of the Shadow Cult family going forward. I was doing the Star Wars thing. James is now a part of the family, and we're glad to have him aboard.
Yep. It's official. We are a 4-man team now.
All right.
So,
It's great to be a part of this.
So he's not on video, but throw it up, boys. And we'll just imagine what James is doing.
I got this cramp in my hand.
Nice.
My hand's been doing this all day. Nothing can stop the claw. So yeah.
Did I? Woo!
So yes.
Man, gang would go third eye.
Oh yeah, third eye. Yes.
Third eye. Every time Kevin Sullivan would say, "And the lady of the third eye," and then gang would go third eye.
So yes, officially, Mr. We Are Pro Wrestling James is, from now on, whenever available, part of the show. So we're a 4-man group now. And a couple other quick notes as far as like upcoming guests we'll be having for future episodes. I know that for Rumble 01, my buddy Ricky Horrormaster from the Horseman podcast will be joining us for that episode. And possible guest that James and I know. Well, I know him a lot more than James does, but Chronix from the Most Extreme Wrestling, my good buddy, will be coming on in the future, possibly for the Rumble, or depending on when he'd be available, I'll have to talk to him about it. But yeah, and other than the video he did for my channel unboxing Hatebreed vinyl for the new album, hadn't done anything with him in quite a while as far as a collaborative effort. So it'll be nice to get him on the show at some point. So just a couple of future guests.
We were supposed to have a guest tonight, but Steve Mesa was supposed to join us, but he's booked for an actual wrestling show in Florida. So
Yep.
Unlike the rest of us, he's actually booked for a show.
And good on Steve. He deserves a spot. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So with all the pomp and circumstance out of the way, as far as the future, pun intended, by the way, pun intended.
Totally saw you on that one there. What you're doing, I appreciate that. Yeah. Anyone got a Slim Jim?
Oh
God, the amount of Slim Jims I eat at work. Holy crap!
Oh God, I can imagine. Regular or bold or mild
regular,
or
regular, yeah.
I was a big fan of the Tabasco flavored ones.
I am not surprised by that. I'm not surprised at all. Walt likes the spicy stuff. He's spicy.
I like spicy stuff too.
Yep.
I've been adding to my chicken salad sandwiches lately this sauce that has like a Jamaican jerk flavor and a curry, so it's really flavorful and it's got perfect heat.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, like I said, pun intended with the pomp and circumstance comment. Now let's get started. Starrcade 1995, the World Cup of Wrestling. WCW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. Woo! Okay, so Starrcade.
Now, one quick thing. In Japan, this wasn't looked at as a World Cup. This was viewed as in the same way we looked at the New Japan Super Shows they had a few years prior to this. There was no WCW. This angle was strictly WCW. This angle was not brought over to Japan. They looked at this simply as a crossover show. And that was it. There was no like angles or anything going into it. It was New Japan wrestlers going against WCW wrestlers, and that was it. There was no angle behind it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So over in Japan on TV, they just pushed it as a WCW match and such, as a crossover show.
Just a thing.
Which was fun, but there wasn't an angle behind it.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it as we go along. So, Starrcade 95 World Cup of Wrestling took place at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee, with an attendance of 8,200, 6,108 paid, live gate of $83,855, pay-per-view buys 95,000. But compared to Starrcade 94, the year previous, the attendance was the same as 94. Live gate was up from 94. However, pay-per-view buys were down from 94. And then compared to the rest of the shows WCW had during 1995, the attendance in the middle with Super Brawl the highest, Uncensored the lowest. Live gate also in the middle with Super Brawl the highest, Great American Bash the lowest. Pay-per-view buys, however, the lowest of the year out of all shows. And for a Starrcade, we'll get into the reasons why as we go along.
The lowest bought Starrcades of all time.
Let me just point out with those numbers you just threw at us, Levi. I know a lot of fans on the internet are like, oh, AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling need to do a crossover or this and this and that. These numbers are why you don't see things like that.
Right.
Yes.
At all. Sorry, New Japan Pro Wrestling and a crossover with AEW or even WWE is not going to move the needle. It'll entice the appetite of the smart fans, the fans of New Japan and such.
Well, you're not going to get new fans.
Yeah, you're not going to get any. Yeah, you're not. Those guys watch AEW anyways.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, Scott, what food do we have en masse for this show?
Alrighty. For Starrcade 1995 in Nashville, Tennessee, let's see what we got here. We have Dusty commentary, including Cleverin, Tipsy Toe, and Unkelin. We have Mullet Mania, Bad Blasters, Subtle Racism on commentary. We have Michael Buffer, Chopping, Gorilla Pressing, Atomic Dropping, Blood, and a Loose Cannon. For moves, we have 3 superplexes, 1 Liger Bomb, 2 Brainbusters, 5 German suplexes, 1 top rope headbutt. I only count the moves that connect, by the way. I know there was an attempt early in the match. I don't count those. We have a Tiger Suplex, 2 Moonsaults, 1 Reverse DDT, 1 STF, 2 Torture Racks, 1 top rope Hurricane Rana, 1 Splash Mountain, 1 Springboard top rope crossbody to the floor, 2 Macho Man elbows, 1 Stinger splash, 2 Scorpion deathlocks, not done by Sting, mind you. Both of them not done by Sting. And 1 figure 4. And for the foo, we have... That's right. And we have flag foo, guardrail foo, chair foo, megaphone foo, and brass knucks foo. And that's your foo for Starrcade 95.
Indeed. And so, with this show, as I brought up before, the World Cup of Wrestling, we have 9 matches on the card. 7 of them are the World Cup matches. WCW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I was just about to say that, Arthur Jones. Yeah, Starrcade 95 was the Sunny Ono show.
Yep. Oh, no!
Well, Sunny... Well, let me give you some backstory here. New Japan Pro Wrestling and WCW's relationship, which had been going on for quite some time now, about 5 years or so, was on, thanks to what the going-ons with Bill Watts, it was kind of like on loose thread. Sunny Ono was actually the go-to for Bischoff and New Japan to kind of mend the fences and bring forth this show. This show rejuvenated their relationship because, as you saw, there was NWO Japan. They were trading talent back and forth. Helped ignite the cruiserweight division. So Sunny Ono actually, despite the fact he's all over this event, he was a big contributor for the upcoming years in WCW.
And don't forget, Ono was a longtime friend of Bischoff.
Exactly. Yes,
They
made that ninja game together.
Ninja game, yeah, they knew each other from kickboxing and things like that. So they have a long history of scamming people. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But he was the liaison between WCW and New Japan. He helped mend the fences.
Mm-hmm.
So the kayfabe backstory to this entire World Cup was in late October, early November on WCW Pro, which for those who may not know what that is, Monday Nitro was the A show, Saturday night was B show, Worldwide and Pro were C shows.
Mm-hmm.
On WCW Pro, Bobby Heenan, because wrestling, sold half of WCW Pro to Sunny Ono. Ono introduced New Japan wrestlers to that show. Also during that time is when Kensuke Sasaki won the U.S. title from Sting, and that started this whole build towards Starrcade and the World Cup, the best of 7 series.
And that was the funny thing. You actually had to watch the C show to follow the angles and get familiar with the talent.
And how many people at that time were actually watching it to pick up on that? And because also this is end of 95, we are still in the wrestling recession. We're at the tail end of it, but we're still in it. And this show is another perfect example of what you had to deal with a major company, where you have a very limited roster on your biggest show, what is supposed to be your biggest pay-per-view of the year. And as I was saying earlier, this is a good show, but it's not a good Starrcade, if you know what I mean. It doesn't
even feel like a Starrcade.
No. If this was a standalone pay-per-view, like called When Worlds Collide or something like that, I think it would have been received a lot better than it was. But just for a Starrcade, doesn't feel like it.
If they just called it the World Cup of Wrestling, it would have been fine.
WCW presents WCW.
Yeah, and on top of that, we were talking about this beforehand. This might arguably be the best Starrcade pay-per-view of the 90s. From as far as a top-to-bottom show.
For a show, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weak Starrcades during the decade.
Yeah,
right.
93
this one's
being
got its
one
ups
of
and
them.
downs, though. But it is pretty consistently good.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah, leaps and... Yeah,
And it's a rare pay-per-view during this era with no Hogan. They ran a suspension angle the couple of weeks prior when it was during the Savage Giant World title match on Nitro, which coincidentally enough, yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the entire angle.
Wow.
Where it was during that match, Hogan came out, started beating everybody up with chairs, and then complained, "Where's my world title shot?" Following week, they suspended him the rest of 95. So that explains why he's not on the show.
Yeah. And
do we know was he actually like filming a movie at the time and that's why he wasn't on it, or do we know any other reason why?
It could have been one of those, he had X amount of dates and he's already filled his dates.
Gotcha.
Perhaps. But with
what's also really interesting though is as a longtime New Japan fan, out of the 7 guys they had for that roster there, you had one guy on that card that was considered a main eventer out of that entire roster. That was Chono.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Where's Muda? Where's Hashimoto? Where's Hiroshi Hase? Where's Riki Choshu? Where's Fujinami? Where are those guys? They're over in New Japan because New Japan is getting ready for this big angle with UWFI, the shoot fight promotion with Nobuhiko Takada and such, and Minoru Suzuki. They were doing their own invasion angle over there. Plus, Muda was the champion, and they weren't going to send their champion over to help put WCW over. That was
Nope.
And Muda was probably the one thing we're wondering, the casual fans was most familiar with out of that crew at that time, and they're wondering where was Muda. No, Muda, they weren't. We'll give you these guys, but you're not taking Muda. So.
Nope.
Because there's a lot of matches you could have done with Muda during this World Cup if you could have had him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like Macho Man and Muda? Come on.
Champion versus champion.
You got it.
Yep.
That would have been great.
Yep, but that
Or
was
hell,
the
if they
wanted to keep their champion protected, and they were about to go into a big program in over New Japan, their own invasion angle, they weren't going to make their guys look weak before doing that.
Yep.
So with all that said and done, let's actually talk about the matches themselves. So we kick things off with the first of 7 straight World Cup matches. And we kick it off with Chris Benoit versus Juice and Thunder Liger with Sunny Ono.
Sunny Ono. Benoit, freshly a horseman now.
Yeah,
Benoit
just became a horseman by this point.
Group. And this is a standard New Japan rivalry right here. These guys before this card, went head to head many times.
Yeah, this is a good match. It's not their best one, but it's definitely a solid match between these two guys.
Dude,
good way
to kick off the show.
You go to the
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, great opener, gets the crowd into it.
Exactly. Yeah. But probably the shittiest Hurricane Rana ever by Liger at the end.
The finish, yeah. A little off timing.
Terrible.
Yeah, the finish
off. It was a good
there.
It was a good match that personified the New Japan junior heavyweight style at that time. And Liger being the king of the junior heavyweights at that time, and probably the king of the junior heavyweights of all time, good way to start things off. Also with a guy that he's familiar with and knows he can have great matches with. Good Japanese style junior heavyweight match with a shitty, poorly executed American finish and an even worse Hurricane Rana by Liger. I mean, look at Liger's leg. Liger was never a Hurricane Rana guy though.
Yeah, it was just off time. Sullivan coming out, it's just like it happens, it's there, okay, big deal. You never see him again the rest of the show. It's never acknowledged, really. It just you just needed an excuse for Benoit to get distracted so he loses. All right, fine.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah, not like you have a manager out there to do that for you. Oh no.
Yeah. Right.
And Liger Liger's not a Hurricane Rana guy. He's got like these short, stocky, thick legs. I just don't understand why he just do like a regular roll up or something. But it looked really sloppy and really bad. Good match overall, except for those counterpoints there.
And the crowd's into it. The crowd is definitely hot for this match. And like James was saying, great opener for this one, gets the crowd into it, gets us going. But my God, Dusty and Bobby Heenan on commentary with Tony Schiavone. What the hell did we do to get this? Man, it's mostly annoying, but it borders on funny at some points, but just ridiculous. Oh my God.
Why couldn't you get Mike Tenay for this whole show?
I mean, Tony Schiavone's trying to be Mike Tenay in this match.
He was doing some stuff here and there.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they had done When Worlds Collide the year prior, and he was on that, so he was working in the office doing stuff back and forth. So
that's a very good point because Mike is very knowledgeable of these guys. He could have familiarized the audience with what they do.
Oh yeah, like he would do in '96 for some of the cruiserweight matches.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But we didn't get that. But in the end, Juice and Thunder Liger defeated Chris Benoit in 10 minutes, 29 seconds. Moving right along to match number 2 of the World Cup, we get the Wunderkind Alex Wright versus Koji Kanemoto with Sunny Ono.
Sunny Ono's in this match too? No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, go figure.
Wonder how many more times we're going to see him tonight.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't put that in the foo. I didn't count how many times we saw Sunny Ono.
7 Sunny Onos.
Lots of Sunny
7 Sunny Onos, 6 Sunny Onos,
5 Sunny Onos.
Oh.
Okay, Sonny.
Alex Wright's been with the company for about a year at this point. Am I right?
About a
Yeah,
year or
somewhere
two.
around there. He was on Starrcade the year
Yamamoto-
prior
He was. That's right. Yep. He wrestled
against
some.
some Jean-Paul Levesque. I wonder whatever happened to him.
I don't know.
Who was it?
Fell into obscurity.
He faced
some French
Jean-Paul Levesque. I wonder whatever
that
happened
guy?
to Levesque.
I don't know.
Some French dude. Yeah, I don't think he went
French
anywhere.
dude, big nose.
Huge.
Now,
nose.
here's the thing with Kanemoto. Kanemoto was the first, was formerly Tiger Mask 3, and he was also the first heel Tiger Mask, and also the only Tiger Mask to have it be unmasked, except for Misawa, but Misawa was voluntary.
Yeah.
The thing with Kanemoto, the funny thing with Kanemoto is, with this match, is he comes to the ring wearing like Hong Kong Kung Fu gear. Now, if you follow New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kanemoto normally wears, he's just very standard, very black trunks, black knee pads, black boots. He's very, very very plain looking. Black kick pads, excuse me. CM Punk actually modeled his look after Kanemoto's getup. But here was the thing, and I read up on this. This was actually Bischoff talked about this on his podcast with Conrad. Jimmy Hart caught when they were doing one of the WCW Pro shows. Jimmy Hart looked over and caught wind of Kanemoto's attire, and he said, "Baby, he's wearing the same tire as Luger. He can't do that. He can't do that. They're wearing the same trunks. Maybe people are gonna get confused, Daddy. They're a tag team, Daddy." Jimmy Hart's nuts, so I can't see a connection between Koji Kanemoto and Lex Luger. So they had to figure something out, and they went and got karate gear or kung fu gear from some shop for Kanemoto to wear for his duration of his time there, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
boy.
because Jimmy Hart's a nut, so Koji Kanemoto had to change all his attire up, and yeah. Because people would have gotten confused with him and Lex Luger.
Apparently, the team of Total Moto.
Toto.
Yeah.
That's nice. But despite all that, overall, I thought this was a really good match between these two.
It was a good match.
Really, really good
Yeah.
match.
It was good, but it doesn't seem like they worked their ass off. But it's like the crowd was not getting into it. Not as strong as the first.
Best
Yeah.
Japanese guy, German wrestler, USA champ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Previous match, Japanese wrestler, Canadian wrestler, USA.
USA.
Whoa. They keep
Remember,
screwing that up.
It's Nashville.
Even
It's
Bobby
Nashville,
screws that up too on the commentary. They keep saying, "Oh, it's America versus Japan." No, it's WCW versus New Japan. That's what it's supposed to be. But they keep screwing that up, and it makes
They also have shirts though. The shirts for the event have a Japanese flag and an American flag on.
right. And it's like completely.
USA is easier to chant than WCW. WCW.
True.
WCW.
Your first two matches of your team were represented by a Canadian and a German. Yeah.
This was a solid match. It didn't really. Kanemoto in Japan is a mean, nasty heel. Fucking kick guys in the face and all that shit. He didn't really do that though. He didn't do that much. He was healing it up, but he wasn't being a prick like he is in New Japan. Whenever he wrestled Liger, especially with after the whole Tiger Mask fiasco, the first thing he'd fucking do is try to tear Liger's mask off. He was so nasty and mean, and he was heelish, but he wasn't the aggressive, nasty prick he is in New Japan. But still, he got a very good match out of it.
Indeed, as Koji Kanemoto defeated Alex Wright in 11 minutes 44 seconds.
So we got two solid junior heavyweight matches. Okay, so
But coming up
junior
next,
heavyweights were the bread and butter in the 90s in Japan.
yeah, coming up next though, the third match of the World Cup and the first heavyweight match, we have Lex Luger with Jimmy Hart versus Masahiro Chono with Sunny Ono. But yeah, this match between Luger and Chono, size-wise, it's like
Chono's my dude.
Yeah. Size-wise, it was fairly even, but as far as a match itself, for me, it was okay. It was okay. Granted, it's Luger, and yeah.
You got to look at a few factors here. This is also a fun fact. Mr. Scott did buy me a Masahiro Chono action figure for a birthday gift, I believe. I still have it.
Yeah, it might have been that or Christmas because I bought it at a Ring of Honor show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now here's the thing, though. This is the first two matches we got were high impact New Japan style junior heavyweight matches. Now we got two bigger guys, a little more not as mobile. Chono used to be a goddamn machine until he got his neck injured. I'm not sure if you know this or not, Levi. I'm sure James will. But Chono, about in late '92, Chono was a workhorse.
When he got
30-minute match with Muda.
Yeah, I think I remember. Didn't he get like a botched tombstone from Austin?
From Austin, of all people.
Yeah.
It was the Owen
So
Hart spot,
weird.
but it was Austin doing it.
So weird.
It was like
thinking about
right
it.
after he won the NWA title.
Yep.
And right before the match with Rude at Halloween Havoc '92. That's why that match was a disaster, but another story for another time.
Because that was the thing. Chono kept putting off surgery, kept putting off neck surgery, and he broke down really fast. So this is why, this match, I mean, they did the best they could.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long match. You got to remember, Luger is wrestling again later that night. And Luger's not exactly a stamina machine.
Yeah.
So they had to make the best of it. And the highlight of the match, though, was Tony and Dusty Bobby and Dusty making fun of Tony.
Yes. It was a mafia kick. What you gotta call a mafia kick for? He put him in the head, man. He put him in the head. You don't gotta put a mafia in
You
there.
get these things. German suplex. How you picked up and dropped him on the head.
And and
Uncle Fred.
and Arthur Jones just pointed us out. Yet Luger's a heel at this point, but he was getting babyface reactions, of course.
Crazy. Oh,
because-
the crowd is hot for this
Yeah.
match.
That's the thing.
He was a tweener at this point because he was a heel,
yes.
but he was friends with Sting. You kind of needed a scorecard to see who was friends and who wasn't.
Yeah, which
they
was
even
so-
referenced that on the commentary too.
Yeah.
Yeah, what matters most, though, is once Luger gets Chono in the torture rack, plates gets off its feet. They
Fucking
light right up.
Blow the roof off the place. Huge.
Shivani loses it. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that's all that mattered then, because finally WCW is going to get a win, and AKA the baby faces. So it was a nice build up. Oh, boom! He got him in the rack, and place went bonkers, and that's all that really mattered. Not an awful match. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was all right. It was an all right.
I think it was
match.
good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good show. Good match.
I can name dozens of Chono matches that are 100 times better, but he served his purpose there. It was a quick match, but he did, his point was to get Luger over, and he did a good job doing it.
Mhm.
Chono's the fucking man. Chono is because that was the thing. After the neck injury, he slowed right down but focused more on working the fans, charisma, psychology, and he became 100 times better over it in terms of that aspect. Guy can get a crowd wrapped around his finger just the way he is.
And he used to come out to Asia as theme music.
He did long before this.
Long before this,
His
he did,
Young
yeah.
Lions years. He came out of Asia.
Oh,
You leave it-
But in
Now
the
he
end,
comes out. At this time, he was coming out. Not at this show. Everybody was coming out to stock. Everybody was coming out to Asian cuisine restaurant stock music on this show. But
They used for other people, like Yoshi Kwan used one of these themes at some
Yeah.
point.
yeah.
But in Japan, Chono was using gangster rap with tons of obscenities. And
a lot of obscenities and racial stuff. Imagine hearing racial shit blaring through the Tokyo Dome. Oh, it's Chono.
Motherfucker was a damn. And Chono was the first guy, first wrestler I heard drop F bombs. Fuck you, NWO.
Now I gotta look some of this shit up now.
Yeah, you do. It's good.
But anyways, Lex Luger defeated Masahiro Chono via submission in 6 minutes 41 seconds. We go from one quick match to another one as we get the fourth match of the World Cup. We have Johnny B. Bad with the Diamond Doll Kimberly versus Masa Saito with Sunny Ono. And can I just say, Kimberly Page, wow.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looking real good.
24 years old here.
Uh-huh.
She was quite young.
Yep, she was fresh as a daisy, even though Dallas already popped her. But,
And
so.
what's funny, and I like how Bobby Heenan comments on her look in this show. He's like, she used to be a real lady, now she looks like a bimbo cheerleader.
Now, here's the thing. Saito at this point was not a fully active competitor. Here's another fun fact. He helped co-book this show with Dusty. We was part of the book. He got that's how he got on the show.
Mhm.
He was part of the agent. There were 4 people. Bischoff, Sunny Ono,
Dusty.
Saito,
Saito.
and Brad Rangans. Brad Rangans too.
Oh.
They brought Saito on because not only because he helped out with the booking for the show, but they also felt this crowd was going to be very familiar with him, which is true. Prior to this, Saito had a long, extensive run in the States in the AWA and the WWF. Also notorious for fighting with Holder through McDonald's with Ken Patera.
There was that.
So you can tell he's in a pissy mood and he does not feel like selling Johnny Bad.
No, he does. But you got to give Mark credit because he stands right up there and takes it. He takes all the chop and gives it right back. Mark's
Saito was basically Haku. Saito was a bad dude.
Yeah. And they're throwing chops at each other. And I really gave Mark Merrill a lot of credit in this match. He does not back down. He's like, bring it, bitch. And I'll throw it right back at you. So he gets a lot of credit, in my opinion, for what he does in this match. Because is pretty much, Road Warrior Hawk doesn't want to do anything.
Nope, doesn't want to do anything. Doesn't want to sell anything. He doesn't want to put the young guy Jin over. Mark is standing he's grumpy. He was like 55 at this time, but he was built like a brick shit. It's like he was like Haku.
Remember now, and to put in context, this is 95. 13, 14 years earlier, he's teaming with Mr. Fuji as tag champions for the WWF, managed by Captain Lou. Just to put in perspective, how long he's been in the business.
Not to mention an Olympian too. I think he was a medalist. He won something, but he is an Olympian. Saito was a legitimately tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
But kudos to Chad for standing his ground and going tit for tat with him.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, not a very good match. Oh, let's also not forget the beginning promo with Sunny Ono being sexist.
Yes.
By Kimberly
being
grabbing
racist.
the mic and being racist, and being kind of sexist again.
Yeah. There was all that stuff too. And of course, after the match, Mero does a flipping dive to the outside where he completely misses Saito.
Saito sells it though. He sells
He
it.
still goes down, but he completely went back to back.
Yeah, I know, but he sold it. He wouldn't sell Johnny's. Johnny's gimmick was the tutti frutti right hand.
And how did I know Arthur Jones was going to ask this question? Who was hot in WCW? Elizabeth Woman, Major Guns, Deborah McMichael, or any other WCW woman?
Kimberly, hands
Always
down.
Kimberly was smoking.
So yeah, I'll say Kimberly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Elizabeth was pretty hot at this time too. Still.
Oh yeah. I don't know what I think WCW Elizabeth was hotter than WWF Elizabeth.
Yeah, they'll have a little bit more freedom with her outfits and stuff like that, and her hair, more,
Yeah.
Well, she was divorced from Randy. She didn't have to listen to him.
Yeah, she was all free now.
Liz, I don't like it. It's a little too revealing, How about you put this on instead? Don't
But,
look at her.
But
Send for the man.
oh Lord. But anyway, so yeah, this match, even though Bad takes it. Yeah, this match wasn't that.
It was a sloppy match because Saito's not selling, and it just wasn't.
And it doesn't help we get the fucking over the top roll DQ again.
Yep, again.
And I'm still thinking to myself in my head, this is December '95. I thought Bill Watts was gone by this point.
I have a weird feeling that was not the original finish. I think they were realizing Saito was not cooperating. Let's just shit can him and just move on. I think that's what happened.
They're not gonna. You're not gonna put him. You're not gonna put. Saito doesn't want to put him over, and they're probably afraid that he's gonna shoot on Mark. So,
right. But in the end,
that fucking suplex. You ever see that suplex Saito hits? Jesus.
That
was a Shawn Michaels suplex. Shawn Michaels. That's what it was. The teardrop suplex. That was Saito's move.
But in the end, Johnny B. Bad defeated Masa Saito by disqualification in 5 minutes 52 seconds. Moving on from that, so right up to this point, it's 2-2 WCW to New Japan. We get to match number 5 of the World Cup. We get Eddie Guerrero versus Shinzo Ohtani with Sunny Ono.
Sunny Ono. Best match of the night. Fucking best match of the night.
it's up there.
Yeah, I would say definitely up there for sure. Yeah, this was a great match.
I'm partial because I'm an Ohtani. Ohtani is, in my opinion, the unsung hero of 90s junior wrestling. If you can notice with this stuff, with the he sold his ass off. He was and he did that. And this is a match that kind of showed you that Eddie Guerrero can get to the next level. Besides being a wrestling machine like he proved in ECW and AAA before, he can actually work a solid match and tell a good story. And this match, the reason why I call this the best match tonight, because the fans were getting really into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an into it. Although Eddie does cut like one of the most stereotypical babyface promos.
Yeah,
ever.
I was just about to say.
Well,
he was doing his best Ricky Steamboat impression with that.
Like Eddie like Mondo and
Ricky Steamboat. I was like, I'm so honored to represent this country and represent this company and blah blah. blah.
I was gonna say,
first almost 2 years of Guerrero and WCW was like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, is it just me or is it really weird seeing Eddie Guerrero doing pure white meat babyface promos back in the day, compared to where he would eventually go in the late '90s, heading into his WWE run,
especially what he had been doing a year prior as a heel.
Right.
Another fun fact about this match: it features the only guy still wrestling today on the card.
That's right. Yeah.
That's Ohtani. Ohtani is still going. He's fat and he's got much
exactly, but he's still going. 7 years after the show, I'm in Ring of Honor.
Also about Ohtani. First WCW Cruiserweight Champion.
Yep.
Not long after the show.
I think after this match is what made them consider keeping him around and try and go somewhere with him. Because this is a great match. It not only demonstrates the athleticism, it tells a very good story, and it doesn't have any of the flaws he found in the Kanemoto or Liger Benoit match. Mm-hmm. So, in my opinion, that's what makes it the best match of the night. Plus, it got the crowd behind Eddie. The crowd was really rooting Eddie on towards the end, and you can hear their disappointment when Ohtani gets the win. Mm-hmm. They are super upset.
It's a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the end, Shinjiro Ohtani defeated Eddie Guerrero in 13 minutes, 43 seconds.
Fish out of water!
Taking a small break real quick, because I just noticed the bitrate's still going crappy for some reason. Weird. I don't know. It's like Streamlabs OBS is being stupid. I may have to, for the next stream, switch to normal OBS and see if that fixes anything, because seems like Streamlabs OBS has just been going down the shitter the past few days.
That's weird. I think they did an update of some kind with it recently, and that's why it's been having all these problems. I don't think you're alone. I think other Twitch users are having problems with it too.
Yeah, so give it a moment and see if it comes back. If not, I may have to set up a new stream if it doesn't calm down. Because the frames just keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. Oh, wait a second.
Does it need Viagra? Trying to get it up.
Okay, I think we're stable now. I guess doing it with the graphics card did not help matters, so I decided to go back to using the processor. All right. And so far everything's fine. So everybody hear us just fine? Video okay? Everybody that's in the comments?
Arthur, if you're watching there and listening to us, let us know if everything's good.
And Lindsay over on Twitch.
I remember you saying you met Ohtani. Was it at one of the Ring of Honor shows, or was it at one of Carino's PWG shows?
It was the first Ring of Honor show I did where he teamed with Carino, or he teamed with Tanaka against Carino and Loki.
Okay. That was when they were doing 0-1.
Yep, all the ring crew guys lined up in the locker room. We all walked up to Ohtani and Tanaka and shook their hand. They're all very nice. It was like, "Oh, nice to meet you, Ohtani. Nice to meet you." so, hey, Sean Henderson, what's up, Sean?
Ohtani didn't Ohtani would leave Carino notes like saying, "I kidnapped your child," and
yeah, he leave ransom notes and stuff. And Michelle was with me that night at that show, and she always remembers Ohtani as the guy who fell off the ropes after the match, because remember that was his thing. After the match was over, he'd go on the second rope and celebrate, and then he'd flop over exhausted. She's like, "Is that the guy who always falls over?" I said, "That's him." So she
In Japan, Ohtani, one of Ohtani's gimmicks too, his dad was always ringside, and you could tell it was his dad because they looked exactly alike. And his dad would like whenever Ohtani get his ass kicked, his father would like sit there and smirk and be like, "Come on, you're better than this. You're better than this." Remember when Colby Carino came out and beat the shit out of Ohtani and Tanaka?
Scott.
Do you remember that spot where Colby Carino came out and saved Steve?
Oh yeah, of course. Where he punched Tom Howard. He punched what's his name there?
You know, he saved Carino and Tom Howard from Ohtani and Tanaka.
Yep. Ohtani gave me the eye.
All over the ring.
He said Ohtani gave me the eye, and I knew he wanted it.
All right, so since everything's pretty much back to normal now on the stream, since I switched to the CPU instead of the GPU. All right, let's continue. So pretty much halfway through the show, now we're into the second half of the pay-per-view, and we kick the second half off essentially with the sixth of the World Cup matches. Currently 3-2 for New Japan. Next up, we have the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Macho Man Randy Savage, versus Hiroyoshi Tenzan with Sunny Ono.
Or Tenzan, as they put up on the graphic.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dude. That's where I got my chops.
Yep, that's where you got it from. Pretty much,
Headbutt.
Tenzan and Chono was an amalgam that Walter used for his gimmick in wrestling.
Yeah, when I was wrestling, my whole wrestling moveset was stolen from Chono, Tenzan, and Kojima.
Mm-hmm.
Tenzan at this time though was not. He was a middle level. He was basically looked at as Chono. He was Chono's flunky. He was like his right hand man. He didn't start teaming up with Kojima yet. There was no NWO. Eventually, Kojima and Tenzan would elevate, become top guys in New Japan. You notice this match, Savage makes Tenzan do all the work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He takes all of Tenzan's
all matches is Macho getting beat up, getting heat.
Yep.
Because all he needs to win, all he needs to win is the elbow. That's it.
Yep. Easy night at the office for Savage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially since...
But again, Savage has got to wrestle again. Hence why you see like him and Luger are having short matches, because they're not the most endurance heavy guys, those two. Sting will have no problem.
One thing I didn't get is like Sting went double duty, Luger went double duty, Savage went double duty. Why not Flair?
Right.
Well, I mean, kind of Flair did with the three-way and then the main event.
But what I mean was,
in the
he wasn't in the World Cup.
In the World Cup. Well, that's beneath Ric Flair. Come on.
Who are they going to put him with, though? That's the thing. I mean, the guy who he can have a really good match with, Muda, is not there.
He's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match between Tenzan and Savage, it was decent. Granted, if it was given a little more time, it probably would have been a really good one. But for the time it was given, it was decent. As Randy
That's
Savage...
the thing with a lot of these World Cup matches. They were short matches, and we'll get to that.
Yep.
And in the end, Macho Man Randy Savage defeated Hiroyoshi Tenzan in 6 minutes 55 seconds to tie it up 3-3, which brings us to the final match of the World Cup of Wrestling. We have Sting versus WCW United States Heavyweight Champion Kensuke Sasaki with Sunny Ono.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that name, Sunny Ono, is going to be stuck in my head while I sleep tonight.
Sunny Ono.
Sunny Ono. Sunny
What a
Ono.
fun...
Inventor of the selfie, Sunny Ono.
Yeah.
A fun fact going back real quick, Savage and Tenzan had a rematch a year later in the Tokyo Dome, and Savage still won.
But yeah, this match between Sting and Sasaki, I thought this match was good.
Yeah, this is a good match
I
too.
thought this was a good match.
Then again, you put Sting in the Scorpion Deathlock.
Yeah.
Sasaki is a student of Ricky Choshu. Ricky Choshu's finisher was the Scorpion Deathlock long before Sting or even Hart were using it.
Right.
Yeah.
I take it back for my masa.
Sasaki at this time was a middle card to upper mid card guy in New Japan, teaming up with guys like Chono and Hase and learning the craft and all that. They said he did an extensive run in WCW for on and off for about 3 years, and big things were waiting for him when he got back from the US in New Japan. They were grooming him and they were getting him ready to be a main event guy. That's why they put the U.S. title on him. I think he beat Sting in Japan. Am I right?
Yeah,
Jay?
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty much what really started this whole World Cup build.
Yep. But New Japan was groomed just like they were with Muta when Muta was in WCW in the late '80s and early '90s. They were grooming Sasaki. Sasaki also just got done with the Power Warrior stint too.
Power Racers.
Yep. They were getting him ready to push him to a main event and be the top guy. He did some stupid shit though. Do you know the whole controversy with New Japan Dojo, James?
No, I've heard bits and pieces, but I want to hear the whole story.
After this, when Sasaki returned to Japan, he was helping train some of the young lions, and he got a little rough on one of them and dropped him on his head and knocked him unconscious, put him in a coma, and the guy died.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
And New Japan covered up the whole. It was like a Snuka instance.
Mm-hmm.
They did everything they could to cover up and hide it. And Hiroshi Hase, who was helping, with the dojo as well, was the guy responsible for bringing this kid in that Sasaki, did this to, and got so disgusted that which was a huge move, left New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he was a lifelong student and star there, and a ambassador of goodwill, left and went to go work for Baba in All Japan.
Jeez.
It's a crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
It's-
When Sasaki came back, he was an asshole. He was rough on guys.
Yeah.
Very stiff. If you see here, he works relatively light when you see things like here. He's working with Sting and all those guys. But when he came back to Japan, he's like fucking punching guys in the mouth and chopping them in the face.
Is he the one married to Akira Hokuto?
Yes.
He proposed after one date. He proposed.
Yep.
No shit. Wow, that I didn't know.
Wow.
Actually,
I can't blame him. My God.
well, yeah.
It's fucking hot.
Shortly
Man.
after that incident, Sasaki was never brought back to WCW again.
Nope.
And a lot of people said that incident had a lot to do with it.
But in
WCW did not want that kind of press, because
Nah.
it would have looked bad, because the independent Japanese newsletters and such was that, WCW is still keeping Sasaki, who's killing a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't hurt Sasaki's career at all. Sasaki still had a very successful career.
yeah. But in
It's crazy shit.
Yeah. But in the end, Sting defeated Kensuke Sasaki in 6 minutes 52 seconds. 4-3, WCW beats New Japan Pro Wrestling in the World Cup of Wrestling. We get the trophy presentation afterwards with all the guys from the Cup coming in. And so weird seeing Sting high-five guys like Benoit, who's in the Horsemen, who Flair turned on just a couple months prior at Halloween Havoc. So...
Blade of the fucking gimmick.
yeah.
Way to kayfabe, boys.
Exactly. But now with the World Cup matches down, we got 2 matches left. Next up, the penultimate match of Starrcade 95. A triangle match for a shot at the WCW World Heavyweight Champion Macho Man Randy Savage. After this, we have Ric Flair, Lex Luger, and Sting. What better 3 could you do for a match like this?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But a very weird format with having one guy on the apron.
Yeah, I was looking at this like, why are they doing this? But it didn't hurt my interest in this match. In fact, I thought this was an awesome 3-way
Me too.
match.
I will say it looked to me like when you got Flair in there with Sting, great. Flair in there with Luger, great. When Sting and Luger got in there, the crowd kind of came down.
Because they didn't know what to make of it. Because it's like,
So
Sting
it's like,
and Luger are
cheater.
friends. Why?
We don't really want this.
Yeah.
One problem I had with this
Go ahead, James. Sorry.
was that this match went a little too long.
Maybe
I
about
agree.
like
So,
5-8 minutes. Yeah.
That was my problem with it. I felt it dragged.
Yeah, it just goes a little bit long. It could have been, if it was shorter, would have been a lot better match.
Yeah.
Again, though, with a lame finish.
Yeah, so we get that finish, and this is still during Luger and Sting going at it. Then they go to the outside, and Flair's in the ring, and Lex and Sting are laying out, and the referee's counting, and he gets close to 10. Sting tries to get him, but Luger pulls him back down to keep him from getting back into the ring, and Ric Flair wins in 28 minutes, 3 seconds by count out.
They teased
Now, that
that
was the
shit
thing.
between.
That was the awkwardness of the finish. If Luger let Sting in the ring and continue, the match would have continued. Nobody would have been counted out.
Mm-hmm.
They teased Sting versus Luger for so damn long, and they never did it. They teased it for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment Luger came in, and they kept on. They eventually won the tag titles, and it's like, okay, when are they going to split? And they never did.
Because the matches were never that good. Yeah, and Cornette said it best. He's like, Flair and Luger drew. Flair and Sting drew. Luger and Sting died. What's wrong with this picture? It don't got no flair.
I think the only good match that Sting and Luger had against each other was when Luger was on his way out in '92. Super Brawl.
Yeah,
Super
that
Brawl.
was a
Yeah,
decent
we got
match.
the title. Yep.
And they referenced that during this match whenever you had
Yes.
Luger and Sting in there. They were like, the last time these two locked up was Super Brawl 2.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Luger low blowed
this,
Sting
baby.
for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like they just could not draw as a match against each other. It just didn't work.
Yeah, because after all, they were built together as friends for so long. It's like, when you give that storyline, it's like people don't want to believe that these two could go one-on-one against each
No.
other.
Dudes with attitude.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Flair wins, and then immediately we go into the main event, the first, last, and only championship match of the night for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Macho Man Randy Savage defending against Ric Flair with Jimmy Hart, who suddenly comes out in Flair's corner for this.
In Flair's corner, but there's no Sunny Ono.
Yeah.
Match without Sunny Ono? Come on.
Come on.
This was
Oh.
the beginnings of the alliance to end Hulkamania.
Yeah, the Horsemen and the
super
Dungeon of
group
Doom.
of
Yep.
the Horsemen, the Dungeon of Doom, and then there's infighting between the two sides
Yep.
at the same time.
And by the way, we forgot to mention the promo that Sunny Ono cut in the locker room. So I think that was, 8 appearances by Sunny Ono on this pay-per-view? All
Yeah.
7 matches in that promo?
Mhm.
Sonny Ono was taking selfies long before it became popular.
Yep,
Remember
that's
that?
what James mentioned there earlier. Yep, pretty much the creator of the selfie. Yep.
Him and Ultimo, him and Nagata. But back when they booked Nagata as a cruiserweight,
But it was an actual camera. It was an actual camera. Like,
But yeah, Flair and Savage here. It was good, of course.
a good
Of
match.
course, with it being as
Yeah,
short
much-
as it was. Yeah.
Had much better matches earlier in the year.
yes,
This was a long-standing feud throughout '95.
and it's a good, solid match. Does what it needs to do. The crowd's into it.
Yep.
Fucking Flair bleeding buckets.
Again.
Well, it's Ric Flair, of course.
Man.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we've seen Flair bleed, but this one, he is like hemorrhaging. It's like huge mess. But yeah, and you got the Horseman run in there and the distraction and all that crazy stuff. What an elbow by Savage in this match too. Pretty much clears half the ring
yeah.
to have to reach Flair because he rolled away too far, but he hit it still. And Horseman come out, boom, boom, boom. Flair hits it, and new champion.
Coleman's going fucking nuts.
Yes, when Savage launches Pillman into Benoit and gets over there, and good old Arn with the brass tape, the knucks.
Fucking whips. He whips Savage with the big gold belt afterwards.
Like dick move,
Oh.
but yeah. And the fucking crowd.
Benoit Savage like celebrating the victory over.
Savage wasn't even out there.
No, he wasn't. No. Yeah, so he just did his own thing. But yeah, crowd goes ape nuts for goes banana when
Crowd
Flair
go
wins.
banana.
Yeah, crowd go banana. So yeah, crowd goes crazy for the finish, which is what you want. And
How many times has Flair won the title at Starrcade?
At a Starrcade?
at Starrcade itself,
At 83, he won it in 87, 93, 95.
Yeah, 95.
4 times.
Yeah.
He
And-
was, up to this point, he was in the main event of every Starrcade he was a part of.
That's true.
But yeah, in the end, Ric Flair defeated Macho Man Randy Savage to become officially in the record books a 12-time world champion, even though it's still way more.
At 12 times.
yeah.
And it was in 8 minutes 41 seconds.
Mhm.
So,
Like, you could have taken some time off of the 3-way and added it to this and added it to a few of the other matches.
yeah, no
Finally.
doubt about it. And once again, the frames dropping. Even though I switch it to the CPU, yeah, Streamlabs OBS is going to be a no-go for a little while.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I'm
It's
probably
weird.
going to have to, for my next solo stream, probably going to have to use standard OBS. Okay, it's stable now. Please
Horseman
stay
stable?
stable for the... Oh, come on.
Fuck the OBS.
Fucking no, but OBS, make your hammer.
I need to look into whatever this update was has caused all this crap to happen. Alright, so overall, Starrcade 95, yeah, despite what we said, it didn't feel like a good show overall.
Overall,
A lot of the gimmick Starrcades didn't feel like Starrcades.
right.
Like Battle Bowl.
Battle Bowl, Future
The
Shot.
Iron Man tournament,
Yeah, the Iron Man tournament.
Paddle Connor tournament, the
Yep.
2 Battle Bowls, and then this.
Mm-hmm.
This was around the time when Starrcade was kind of de-emphasized as the pay-per-view in WCW. It was still the top pay-per-view, but it was kind of less important. It wasn't the season finale that it used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
The last one that actually had that season finale feel were 97 and 98.
Which, by the way, next week on the show,
it's
we are
98.
reviewing Arcade 1998.
Anyway, just,
As he looks to the ceiling.
but anyway, so now on to...
I was 6 years old. I was 16, and I was a New Japan fan at that time, so I was very giddy about it. I was very excited to see it. So, even though it really wasn't a Starrcade, it didn't have that Starrcade feel. As a kid who was following New Japan, I was probably following it for about 3 years at that time. I was pretty excited.
Also off the show, it was really inconsequential to what was happening in WCW outside of the world title stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you had after this show, when you had the U.S. title change hands.
Yes, let's talk about that now. Go ahead and break. Let's get into that.
So in the dark match, you had Kensuke Sasaki defending the U.S. title against the One-Man Gang. They taped it for Saturday night to air about a couple weeks after this. One-Man Gang squashed Sasaki for the 1-2-3, raises his hand, he's the new U.S. champion. But what really happened was they reversed the decision. Kensuke Sasaki ended up getting the pin 1-2-3 and supposedly retained the U.S. title. But in actuality, WCW edited all that out and just aired One-Man Gang as the new U.S. champion. Basically because they didn't want Sasaki losing 2 matches.
And like I said earlier, this show in Japan was viewed at as just a plain. It was viewed at the same light as their crossover shows that they did with WCW in the few years prior to that. It was the same thing. It was just another WCW and New Japan show working together. In fact, the Kanemoto right now.
One match cards a lot. So a lot of
Like
the time.
92 had the King Cable final with Sting and Vader. 93 was Vader and Flair. 90... I can't even say 97 because I can't even think of a match on that show. 98, we'll get to that next week. 99 had a couple of good matches. The Benoit Jarrett ladder match.
90 had a few decent matches on it, from what I recall. Some of the matches in the Pat O'Connor tournament were okay.
91 was probably just the run at the end.
There was a really good tag match. It was with Rude and Austin, I think, were in it. No, there was a...
All right, we're back. Yeah, sorry about that. For some reason, Streamlabs OBS is being stupid.
Better than ever.
All right, so yeah, like I was saying, yeah, we're back, guys. Sorry for the interruption there. It's just I don't understand why Streamlabs OBS is being the way it is.
Because it's a fucking jabroni, that's why.
Yeah, whatever update Streamlabs you put on your OBS, get rid of it. It's fucking up not just my streams, but it's fucking up other people's.
Characters.
That's right.
And for once, it's
So,
on my internet because I fixed it.
Best match.
That too. Play, and I got the lead role because of it.
Alright, we're back again, guys. Please let us stay on longer, OBS. Just let us
Take
get
3.